Okay, all right. So I want to share with you today how incorporating screencasts into your online learning curriculum can be helpful using asynchronous technology. Um, what are some challenges of synchronous online learning? And of course, synchronous meaning that the instructor and the students are meeting at the same time and going over the material together. Um, there are several challenges in doing this, depending on where you are. Um, for where we are in the Middle East, uh, some of the challenges are unreliable access to technological resources. So some students share computers with family members, or they don't have access to reliable internet where they live. Sometimes household income plays a part in what's available for them to use when they're at home. And in a situation when online learning is mandatory and not an optional choice for the student, this can lead to a great challenge for being able to successfully complete synchronous online learning. The second challenge is poor bandwidth. So bandwidth is the speed of the connection to the online platform. So the more people who are connected to the platform at one time, the lower the bandwidth. So what happens is when there's poor bandwidth, there's a decrease in the quality of sound and video. And when you're not face to face or in person with students, sound and video are the optimal methods of conveying information and teaching. So if you can't hear your teacher or you can't see your students or your instructor, then this becomes a challenge. Um, a third challenge is inconsistent participation. So if you've been teaching online, and I think all of us have been teaching online over the last several months, you'll probably recognize that without the benefit of face-to-face classroom, the students are not really participating very much. They're able to attend the sessions, but not actively engage in the sessions. So, as one of our faculty called it, he said they were ghost students. So their name is there, but they're not there. And in fact, even looking at preparing for this presentation, I was looking at um, some. We were shared a slideshow talking about how to engage your audience online, and there was a study with percentages showing what people are doing at the same time as attending online lectures or presentations. And the number one thing was doing other work, going all the way down to the last one being talking on the phone to someone else. However, one of the bigger sections was, of course, eating and drinking, because you're not, the students aren't actually on the screen, so they can eat and drink, and we all do. If our video's not on, we're going to do what we want because nobody can see us.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and then the final or a fourth
Sometimes,
challenge.
sometimes eating and drinking is not a challenge. Like some people, they need coffee, right? So,
Right. Well, I mean, I have my tea here, right? And
and
but
I
in
have my
in
coffee.
right, and in the classroom, eating and drinking is not necessarily going to be a challenge. But if this were a more business minded or business oriented
Yeah,
session, right?
not KFC or
Right. So uh, there were also some other things that people admitted they were doing, but so the last one that I want to look at, the last challenge, is that online learning is an ineffective class design, depending on the course content that you're delivering. And for my course, which is writing, it's highly ineffective. And why is this? Well, because when you're doing asynchronous online learning, then the students are getting the material at the same time as you're delivering it. Well, for a writing class, most of the time or a lot of the time is spent writing. It should be an active process. But it's hard to monitor and engage with students when you can't see what they're doing and
Mm.
you can't see what's being written or who's writing it. So
Yeah.
these are some major challenges in delivering a synchronous online writing class. Now, what are some benefits of using screencasts to facilitate asynchronous online learning? Well, screencasts are, of course, they're videos with voiceovers that visually explain, excuse me, how to do something. Or they can be, like right now, if you were looking at my presentation and going through it on your own and you were listening to me discuss it, this would be a screencast. And so asynchronous online learning allows for several benefits. And the first one is the opportunity for preparation in advance. So if students are given pre-recorded lectures, they can watch them prior to the class session and they can be oriented with the material that you're going to discuss during that session. What this can do is, of course, it's kind of like a pre-learning. So less time is spent actively um, introducing material versus reviewing material. A second benefit is that there's a flexibility in access to course content. Um, as we mentioned, one of the challenges was technological resources. If we have students that are sharing computers or students who have a lack of um, internet connectivity, then having a flexibility for when they can access the course content is a great benefit because that way they don't have to worry about not being able to get important information for class if they have to miss a class or if their internet cuts out. They're not going to worry about, well, I missed that and now I don't know what to do for my assignment or I don't know what's going on in class. So this is a positive for them. Um, a third option or a third benefit is that screencasts allow for the ability to learn at a comfortable pace. We know that even in face-to-face situations, not all students learn at the same pace. That's why we have students asking the same question repeatedly. They need to hear it multiple times. They need to hear it different ways. So this is something that allows them to go at their own pace, right? So they can stop, they can pause, they can rewind, they can rewatch it as many times as they need to. And then that leads to bolstering the efficiency and use of synchronous sessions because if they've watched the videos prior to the sessions and then come to the class session, they can take the time to write down questions that they have. And so then the instructor can use the synchronous sessions as a more um, beneficial method for them to get clarification of what they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
It also encourages students to be more active in the online sessions because if they've already watched the lectures or the preparation videos before the session, then they can come in and they can um, engage with and communicate back and forth with the teacher. Also, for writing classes, it's beneficial because if they know what they're supposed to be working on, they can spend their time doing the writing and then bring that into the class. And then the instructor can use the synchronous class sessions as a time to get feedback,
Mm-hmm.
a time to share examples and this kind of thing, instead of just being I'm going to lecture at you into what I call the void, because I don't have my students turn on their cameras during lectures. So I just feel like I'm sitting there staring at a screen and talking to a screen because that's what's going on. So these are some benefits. All right, so how do we integrate screencasts? Well, screencasts are an engaging method of content delivery. There are a variety of screencasting platforms that you can use. Some are free, some are not. However, the best platform is the one that you find to be most intuitive and straightforward. Um, Remember that you're not, even if you have a great love and interest in making screencasts and videos, the purpose of this is not to, get millions of followers and millions of likes and views. The purpose is to convey the material of the course in an engaging and and accessible method.
Mm-hmm.
So you want something that's going to be easy for you to use and easy for you to catch on to, so you don't spend a lot of time um, teaching yourself how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for teaching purposes, uh, again, it's starting out with a simple platform allows for the acclimatation and or acclimation and utilization of the platform. And the one that I've been working with is called Screencast-O-Matic. And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to talk a little bit about what this is and what it does. And then I will answer some questions in a few minutes about that.
Sure.
So first, I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So when you go onto the website and you sign up, then you're going to get a basic homepage like this. Um, you can download, install. The download install button um, puts, puts the, the recorder and the editor on your desktop, so you have access to this. The most important parts that you're going to be looking at are the start recorder and the video editor. And in fact, the majority of what you're going to be doing will be with those two buttons, and they'll actually be accessible through the desktop platform. You don't have to go online to access it. So that's good because um, sometimes, it's having to go through the websites and click on links and enter this. It just gets, you overwhelming. So once you've got it installed on the desktop, this is what it's going to look like. And when you open it, you're just going to have, it's basically easy. You're going to have this little rectangle pop up. It's going to usually be in the bottom part of your screen. It's very small, and it just has a record button. And then when you press record, you're going to get a countdown, 3, 2, 1. And then you simply do what you would do. And if you're going to be doing a voiceover as well, you would speak as you normally would. There are options to use the webcam as well as just the screencast. So if you want to have a video of yourself along with the screencast, that can happen. Or if you just want to do the screencast, which is what I prefer because I don't feel the need to be in the video myself, um, you can do that. And both are accessible, or both are options. Once you've finished recording, and you're ready to then edit, then you would just press the pause button. And it will ask you, as the third part says, it will show you how long your video is. And then if you're done and you're ready to edit, you just click done. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a really streamlined, simple process. Record to start, pause to stop, done to edit. Um, Now, there are options like, for example, say you make a mistake and you say, you've been recording for 10 minutes and you make a mistake. You don't want to throw out the whole video. You can pause, back up a couple of seconds in this little blue bar here, and then start again recording. So there are those options. As long as you haven't pressed done, you have the option to re re record parts that you feel are not what you want them to be. Um,
Interesting.
did you have a question?
No, no, I'm just saying
Okay.
that it's really interesting. Yeah.
It was, and the good thing about this is that it was very intuitive for me. This is the first time I had ever used
Mm-hmm.
any screencasting program before, and within, I would say, a couple of hours of playing around with it, I felt comfortable to upload and do my videos. And the sound quality for this was really good. I used my headphones to record, but you can, even without the headphones, I still had good sound quality. Sometimes, I think a lot of people don't like to hear their voice when they're on recording or on a tape or something, but it, it, it didn't bother me hearing my voice on this, so maybe that's a good thing. But so let's move ahead to the next part. After you have finished what you want recording and you press done, this is what's going to pop up, and this is the video editor.
Mm.
Okay, the video editor took a little bit longer to get accustomed to, but it was still okay because um, I just played around with it for a little bit. So you can see that there's these little there's some options here on the side, so you can change the size of the video or the canvas. You can include the narration. If there is narration, you can turn off. So you see where the yellow circle is down here on the screen. This is the cursor. So if you were using your cursor while you were making the screencast, it's going to track the cursor with the circle, which can be annoying. So you can just turn it off. You just click cursor, uncheck it, and then they won't see the cursor. And I always try to do that. So that's less distraction on the video. So one of the most helpful things and one of the most interesting and fun things I had with doing this was the option to add captions. And captions or captioning your screencasts are great for a couple of reasons. First, it's an added support for those who may need to read what's being said. For example, a lot of students, rely on reading the words as they're listening to what's being said. And especially if they are still struggling with learning their language skills, then it allows them more opportunity to reinforce what they've been hearing. The second reason, and this is mostly why I do it for my class, is that it adds accessibility for students of determination who may need the additional support. Some of my students who've been enrolled in my classes are some of their accommodations have been that they needed printed versions of lectures or whatever, something they could read and easily access to be able to have another layer of accessibility. And so I found that this was a good option because not only can you add the video captions here, it also gives you a really easy way to add them. When you press the captions, it automatically populates what you said. So you don't have to type in the captions one by one. However, you do need to go through the captions to make sure that it's caught everything, right? Because sometimes it'll mishear what you said or something like that. But overall, it saves a lot of time because it auto-populates the captions for you. And it's a highly recommended point for this platform. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I'm sure that your question is, all right, so this sounds like something interesting that I might want to use in my classroom, and I want to make sure that I understand how to do it. Some people are not as comfortable with technology as others, and that's fine. But the good thing is that Screencast-O-Matic has lots of training and tutorial videos on their site that breaks down different parts of the process and of uh, and then also in YouTube, of course, you can view screencasts of how to make screencasts. And it just reinforces the idea that screencasts are very useful in helping to make content approachable, accessible, and the like for students. So for my personal, so you're going to want to share them, of course. For my personal classes, I created a YouTube channel that I posted all of my videos on. There's about 10 or 12 videos. And I've invited you, this is the link to my channel. I'm inviting you all to visit the channel, check out the videos so you can see what they look like and give you maybe some ideas of how you could incorporate them into your own lectures, your own online curriculum. There's a variety of different lectures. There's some how-tos. There's some just straightforward lectures. There's some informational videos. And I think all of them, yeah, once or twice I used the YouTube captioning, but usually I would use the Screencast-O-Matic captioning for doing that. However, of course, if you don't have a YouTube channel or you don't want to have a YouTube channel, now part of this was that in order for students to be able to access the YouTube channel, I had to make it public. So it's not a private channel that I can share with my students. So if you don't feel comfortable doing that, I will say that I got a couple of subscribers from people who aren't my students who were sending me emails telling me, "Great job, you're going to have a lot of views." And it was encouraging. Um, so if you don't feel comfortable having a public YouTube channel, and I understand if you don't, there are other options, of course, for sharing the screencast, and that looks like this. When you are done with your video editing and you say done, it's going to ask you how you want to save it. You can save it as a video file directly to your computer. You can upload it to the Screencast-O-Matic website because you have your repository there, similar to Adobe Connect. And you can also upload it to Google Drive. I know that a lot of faculty use Google Drive as a place to store information or communicate back and forth with students outside of the general platform of the university. If you save it as a video file, then you can, of course, upload it to whatever your institution's learning platform is, if it's Blackboard or Moodle or whatever it is. So there are options to upload it and share with your students that don't involve YouTube. I've just done the YouTube because um, I wanted to play around and see what it looks like to have a YouTube channel. So, okay, so that's basically it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you found the session
Thank you. Thank
informative.
you very much.
And I hope that you decide to try to incorporate some asynchronous online screencasts into your synchronous online learning to help you have a more beneficial experience with your students. If you
Thank
have
you.
any questions,
Thank
I'm
you
here.
very much. Yeah, so thank you. It was really enlightening and really informative. I think it's a good idea, especially as you said, for the special needs students. So one of the audience, Mr. Ammar, uh,
Mm-hmm.
he's commenting, I have used the online version of this software for my classes in the spring semester, and it really helped my students. And he's asking, is this video editor a free or a paid subscription?
There are both. The one that I have paid for a year, and it wasn't expensive to do it for a year. I think it was under $50.
Mhm.
Um, but there is a free version. The main difference in the free and the paid version, and the reason that I switched to the paid version is that the free version limits the length of the video. I think it's a maximum of 15 minutes of a video,
Mhm.
whereas the paid version has an unlimited video length. If you're doing relatively short lectures, 15 minutes or less, or that's all you want to use for a screencast, or you want to make multiple videos to share with your students for different parts of the lecture, then that might not bother or matter to you. But if it's something that you have a longer video that you want to make, or it's going to take more than 15 minutes, then you'll need the paid version. There are different tiers, I believe, when I was looking at what I wanted to pay and how long. But the basic um, the basic services and options are still available in the free version as well as the paid version. The paid version had a little bit more technical support, I believe. But again, the main deciding factor for me was the length of the videos. So you can surely use the free version just fine, especially if you just want to play around with it and see if it's something that you are interested in using, if it's something you feel like you are comfortable in using.
Perfect. So, Miss Stephanie, I have also a question. So there must be a threshold of the limit of the videos in order to keep students' attention to the videos and not like it gets too long for them to watch these videos, especially that they are watching these videos on their own. So, what do
Right.
you think is the maximum or the threshold of the number of minutes of the length of the videos?
Let me look back. Hold on just a second. Okay. Um, Most of my videos were in the 10 to 15 minute range. A couple of the longer videos that had more specific course related instructions, such as when I told them you have to do this and go here, and I was explaining technically on the screen what to do versus just going through a slideshow or talking like that.
Mm-hmm.
The longest video I had was 30 minutes.
I see.
And I will say it had the most views.
Okay.
Not that that means it had the most completed views. I was looking through the analytics, and it shows you how many people complete the video versus how many people leave after so long. But the thing is that it worked well for the purpose I was using it. The students who would have been engaged in class for 30 minutes and asking questions and getting clarification. These students are the same ones that actually watched the videos. I know because they would refer to them when we were talking about them later, or they would actually do the assignments correctly. So I know that they were engaged in watching the videos. The ones who probably wouldn't be engaged anyway in the classroom, they'd be on their phones, they'd be talking to others, they'd be getting up and going out 14, 15 times class. They probably turned on the video, watched it for a few seconds, and turned it off. I would aim for about 15 minutes, maybe, for a video.
So this is what you recommend. Okay.
Yeah, I recommend. And again, if you aim for about 15 minutes for a pre, right, because you're trying to use this as not the lecture, not the class itself, but the preparation, the preview of the lecture. So it doesn't need to be an hour and 20 minutes, certainly. But if you aim for 15 minutes, then you could probably use the free version and keep it there, and then if you needed to have 25 minutes, you could have a 15-minute video and then a 10-minute video. So if you keep it shorter, it's more likely, use your own judgment, right? I don't know about you, but me, when someone sends me a video or I see a video and it looks really long and I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this. We're all getting limited attention spans with the rise of more technology. So
Thank
I
you.
think 15 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Your presentation was really, really interesting. And I think you have convinced many participants and audiences today to use screencast. So thank you very much.